being here and stage managing our Ngā Toi stage is the celebration. The fact that you can come to Cuba Duper Festival and you can literally be anybody you want to be. Yeah? You can be anybody you want to be here, and you feel like you're part of something really special and something spectacular. And everything, there's something for everyone at Cuba Duper. Check out all the other stages. There's some amazing music, there's some amazing dance, there's amazing street performers, waiata, there's art, there's incredible kai. Yeah, please support all our food vendors and make sure you go and get some beautiful kai out there. But thank you for coming today. We hope you stick around. And yeah, rock on Cuba Duper 226.
Woo, woo, woo! That was Kira. She's a wonderful stage manager. Now, at the front of the stage, you see this. You see that. But you never hardly see the whānau behind the stage that makes kaupapa like this happen. So can we give it up for all of our volunteers, all of our staff, and especially each and every one of you here, bringing your uniqueness, diversity, culture, and talent to this kaupapa, Cuba Duper 2026. Now, I never usually run out of stuff this early, whānau, and I do have a couple of things up my sleeve, but that's for a little bit later when I'm in a pickle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out here and do what we call audience participation. Ka pai, what better way to hear about how wonderful a kaupapa is than just talking to the people in amongst the crew. Hello, random human who I did not meet 20 minutes ago. What is your name?
My name's Fran.
And why are you here, Fran?
Well, I'm here every year, but I'm performing on this stage at 2:45 and TNT.
2:45 at TNT, and your kaupapa is all about revitalisation of te reo Māori and introducing contemporary art styles with it, is that right?
I wear a big band with waiata, so te reo Māori words, big band music.
Absolutely beautiful. Well, you heard it here first, whānau, at 2:45. Come here to listen to TNT as they grace the stage. Now, I like it when whānau look away from me because that makes me double down on the interest that I have in them. Kia ora, whaia, what's your name?
Kia ora, ko Anne Tukuingoa.
Ko Ange, tēnā koe Ange. And where do you come from? Who are your peoples?
Ngā Puhi and Cook Islands.
Oh, kia orana, and tēnā koe Ngā Puhi. And why have you come to Cuba Duper 2026?
Kai.
For the kai, I know that's why. Well, I came here because I'm working, but I also came for the kai too. I can't wait to get me one of those churros. Mauri ore whānau, you heard it here as well. Enjoy the kai that is existing around you. How many minutes do I have left to stall? Oh, let's not fall. Okay, I have 7 minutes. So, kia ora kare, what is your name?
Kia ora, Rebecca.
And where are you from, Rebecca? Who are your people?
I am from Southland. I'm Ngaitahu.
Kia ora Kaitahu, nei rā te mihi atu ki a koe, kia orana. And I am from Kaitahu too. Kia ora, baby, what is your name and where are you from?
My name is Bonnie and I'm from the same place as her.
Your name is Bonnie and you're Kaitahu too?
Yeah.
Well, it's absolutely beautiful to see you in your mariposa outfit, baby. I hope you enjoy Cuba Duper 2026. Mauri ora. Coming over here to the back of the stage. Nah, jokes. Kia ora matua, what's your name?
Ko Guy Toko Ingoa.
Kia ora Guy, and where do you come from? Who are your people?
I'm from the UK.
You're from the UK, tēnā koe, ko te reo tuatahi, ka puta mai I tō waha, ko te reo Māori, nei rā te mihi atu ki a koe, mauri ora ki a koe, ki te UK. Mauri ora. Now, I'm going to slowly make my way back up onto the stage, but not before I stop here and interrupt this, sir. Hello, sir, what is your name and who are your people?
Oh, kia ora, Ross Stewart. Yeah, my partner, Desiree.
Oh, mauri ora, can we say, hey, Desiree? Hey, Desiree. How you doing, Desiree? And are you going to answer them, Desiree?
Oh, ka pai.
Yeah, ka pai. Mauri ora, and why are you here, Desiree, other than bringing your tāne along?
Just support this beautiful day.
To support this beautiful day.
The kaupapa.
And the kaupapa. Mauri ora, can we give it up for the kaupapa e te iwi? Mauri ora kia tātou. Awesome, yay. I got the nod from our stage manager, Kira. So what I'm going to do is make my way up here and try not to fall. Come over here. And then do that voice that you do whenever you hear an MC introducing somebody. Nō reira, ladies and gentlemen, all of those on and outside of the binary, please put your hands together for the artist talk. Coming up, we have Paige and Lisa Tomlinson, and guided by the wonderful Nick as they take to the stage. Give it up, e te iwi! Mauri ora! This is the roving mic? Oh, thanks. Why are you having a... Oh, cool. Thank you. When I say poneke, you say he. Poneke. Poneke. When I say poneke, you say ha. Poneke. Poneke. Let's merge those together. Poneke he, poneke ha. Torifa. Poneke. Poneke. Si, hey.
Kia ora koutou, kia ora. No mai haere mai ki Cuba Duper Artist Talks. For 2026, it's the first time this has happened. We're really excited to be doing it. My name is Nicholas. It's a pleasure to be with you here today. I'm from Tamaki Makaurau. I'm a radio host, DJ, freelance writer, and I also work at the New Zealand Music Commission, which we'll get into in a little bit. But enough about me, because we're here with two amazing artists to talk about te reo Māori, wai te reo Māori, songwriting, and their amazing careers. So without further ado, I'll introduce them. I'll start with you, Lisa Tomlins. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Kia ora tātou. Hey, we're Willie.
It's such a pleasure to be here with you today. I've got a little blurb about you. Is it okay if I read it out? And you can stop me anytime and be like, no.
No, that's not right.
Here it says, the voice of a Kiwi summer, Lisa Tomlins, described by music.net as a vocal gun for hire.
I actually wrote that.
You wrote that, okay.
I wrote that, but yeah.
And I love it. It's a great description. Because it's true, you've worked with so many different acts. Rhombus, Shaken Not Stirred, Holly Smith, David Mahal, Shapeshifter, Fat Freddy's Drop. I could list more and more and more and more. Give it up. Give it up one time for Lisa Tomlins. I'm personally very excited because I love your song, I Love Music. I'm such a big fan of that. It's been a soundtrack of my summer for a long time. And you really do love music, huh?
I do. I love this one.
I know. Paige Sapata. Paige, how's it going?
Good.
I've got a little blurb for you too, if that's okay.
Yeah, go on.
Go on.
Gas me up.
Oh, here we go. Paige is an award-winning singer-songwriter from Tamaki Makaurau who specializes in honest and heartfelt songwriting. And if you've heard a Paige song, which I'm sure you all have, you know that that's just totally accurate. Beautiful songwriter. Paige has shared stages with people like the Jonas Brothers. The Jonas Brothers. The Jonas Brothers. And I'm sharing stage with you, so I feel very lucky. This is like second hand.
I'm just going to touch you now. Sorry.
Yeah. That's the Jonas Brother. 660 Drax Project, George Ezra. Another long list. You've been certified platinum in South Korea. You've done some amazing things. Give it up for Paige one time too.
I actually did write that myself.
Yeah. Don't worry, I found all of your websites. Lisa, I want to go back to I Love Music and you loving music because I was reading about you on Audio Culture and they were talking about your upbringing in Upper Hutt.
Aye.
A house filled with music.
Yes.
CDs, records, the whole shebang.
The whole shebang. Actual records.
How crazy.
Before they were known as vinyl.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's right.
I love that. Well, I was wondering, what were those records? What was the music you were listening to that kind of informed your art practice?
Coming from Upper Hutt, it was things like Bon Jovi. The kids from Fame. Fame was like What a Feeling.
Yeah.
That kind of business. Yeah, that shaped part of my musical lineage. The other stuff was jazz. Yeah.
Yeah, the jazz greats. What about you, Paige? What was the music that you were listening to growing up in your household?
Big Michael Jackson household. A lot of like disco. My parents, they met on a roller rink, so they listened to they listened to a lot of like disco, kind of like also like Commodores, like
That makes
George
a lot of
Benson,
sense.
like that kind of.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. That makes so much
Disco,
sense.
funk, jazz.
Disco, funk,
Yeah.
soul.
R&B.
Yeah, nice.
We've got such a rich history of disco, funk, jazz, soul, reggae, and Aotearoa. It feels like they really came over, and especially meshing with te reo Māori as well, which is the reason we're here to talk today. So I was wondering, in terms of why te reo Māori, is there a song that sticks out from you, maybe from Kapahaka or something like that was the first song you might have fallen in love with that was written in te reo Māori?
Wow, when I was a child, there's one waiata that really stuck with me because it just mentions all of the marae along Te Awa Kairangi, along the Hutt River. I can't quite remember how it goes, but and I've been trying to find it for many years, but then I get distracted and I forget about it.
It's beautiful. Storytelling, Waiata, amazing. What about you, Paige? Is there a Waiata Reo Māori?
Well, this is gonna sound like real dumb, but like Susie Cato was
For sure.
that was my introduction to Waiata Māori, like, which is a funny introduction, but like I grew up in a household where like my dad was kind of grew up kind of being encouraged not to speak reo, and then Susie Cato, like when I was like 5, that was my introduction to reo Māori, and then I think Tōku Reo was like my favorite Waiata, which
Did
was
you hear
awesome
the,
before,
the
yeah.
kapa?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give it up one time for the kapahaka again. How amazing was that? That was so beautiful. Such a beautiful Waiata, and I think the message and meaning behind Tōku as well was like so potent. It makes me think of Sir Apirana Ngata and how he kind of took Western melodies and rhythms, combined them with Te Reo Māori to kind of ensure the survival of the language as well. Did you guys grow up doing kapahaka? Was that something that was prevalent in your...
Yeah, mainly in primary school, and then by the time I got to secondary school, you know, it's kind of more academia and sport related. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't
Kinda
have the
lost it.
privilege to do it either. Like my school didn't offer kapahaka.
Wow.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I grew up in Franklin. So if anyone knows where Franklin is, that's very like
What, Queenstown?
very. It's kind of like Pukekohe.
Up yeah.
So like in Pukekohe, like in the 80s, it was still like, you know,
Yeah.
Maori bathrooms, like still in like, and that's not that long ago, you know. So that's where I grew up. So it's an interesting way to kind of, but my sisters got into it later, which has been really inspiring, and like I really want to do it sometime soon. Like I'd love to get into it. Yeah.
Oh, that's so beautiful, Ihoa. That's so beautiful. We're here as well to speak about the kind of meshing of Te Reo Māori, Waiata Reo Māori with contemporary forms as well. We have kapahaka as a beautiful basis for that. But you guys are both making music and genres that aren't necessarily kapahaka and strumming. I wanted to talk about your journey with Waiata Anthems, if that's okay with you. Yeah. Do you want to give us a brief little blurb about what Waiata Anthems is for the people who might not be aware?
Yeah, so Waiata Anthems is a kaupapa from Hini Wihi Mohi, and it's her mission kind of to take pop songs from, or any kind of Waiata actually, from local artists and translate or rewrite, I guess is a better way to say it, into Te Reo Māori, Waiata Māori.
She's my cousin, you know.
Sorry?
She's my cousin.
Oh, hey!
Whakawhanaungatanga happening on stage.
Your cousin's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a pretty
Real
cool cousin.
cool.
Yeah, but the journey was really cool. It was really amazing to rewrite my songs, because I have 3 songs now.
3 now.
Yeah. I rewrote 2, and then I had another one that I wrote with Te Kahu.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Also known as Thea.
Also
So,
known as Thea.
Yeah, that was an incredible experience.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I was watching your documentary last night for Tō Aroha, the song you wrote about your grandfather. You changed your grandfather. What was that experience like? And
Yeah, well, that was the one that I wrote with Te Kahu, and I kind of gave her the melody, and then I gave her my story of my grandfather. So my middle name is Te Aroha, which is my grandfather's name, and I'm named after him because my parents said that when this child is born, if they look like my grandfather, then I'll be named after him. And no one in my family has any musical ability besides me and my grandfather. So I do believe that like there is some, like he's my, I don't know, like my guardian angel in a way.
for sure.
Yeah, so I wanted to kind of tautoko him and write a Waiata. Yeah. And he's also like, he carried the like Te Reo Māori in my whānau, more than any other family member, and he passed away when I was really young. So, I do feel that connection still.
Carrying
Yeah.
that torch onward.
Yeah, it feels eerie, like even talking about it now, because I still feel it,
Yeah.
every time I think about it, Yeah. It was an amazing experience though. Like, I think Waiata Māori kind of explains and expresses a lot more than, Pākehā. So, yeah, it goes right into the every nook and cranny, you know,
Yeah.
of the feeling you're trying to convey.
The metaphors and the allusions and the references that I think writing in Te Reo Māori has, that Te Reo Pākehā doesn't have, is, yeah, it's a really beautiful way in. I want to talk about your songwriting process with Te Reo Māori.
look. Well, I don't actually have one, but yet.
Yeah,
There's
we're
that
on
word.
our way.
There's that word. So the process that I've had very similarly, my dad also grew up not speaking. In fact, it was well known amongst his whānau that, you know, the Tomlins men don't speak on the pai. They're very quiet, reserved. And that's because they had it beaten out of them, you know, the reo was gone. I always knew that it was there, because in later life he would watch Māori television and you know, like there was a very strange period when I was growing up, and where much like where you grew up, there was kind of a self-hatred of being Māori, you know, and I saw that quite prevalent in my father. So, you know, it kind of pushes away from being Māori. It's like, I mean, you can't get away from it, mate. Look at us.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was a lot of that, and I'm sure that's very similar in a lot of different cultures.
Yeah.
But yeah, the waiata writing in reo has not quite come to me yet. But it's been, I've only just recently joined a rōpū at Vic Uni with a whole bunch of other staff and tutors, and yeah, it's been really lovely just getting the reo in my mouth.
Yes.
And feeling it kind of seeping into the pores of the fabric of my being, you know.
Yeah.
And the next project, the project that we're doing this afternoon at 2:45 TNT exclamation mark, is another one of those processes that I've had to go through to fit it back into, because it's been kind of driven away for so long. That is really lovely to actually get some of it back.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm a forever learner, so I've begun the hiding many times, and kind of like, you know, you get busy, life happens, and then you're just like, oh, it's one thing that you can just put to the side, and there's other things too, but yeah.
Beautiful. Can I ask, what was the catalyst for you to, I guess, want to explore that side of yourself in the most recent, like joining the rōpū? What was it for you that made you go, I want to go do that?
I think it just felt right. It just felt right. Like my dad passed away like about 8 years ago now. So, and I'm kind of sad that he didn't get that opportunity to express that part of himself. And I kind of feel like it's like I see it in my sister's kids, where they're quite confident and comfortable expressing that side of themselves, and I'm like, well, I didn't want this generation to not feel that comfortable.
Yeah.
So like my compromise at the moment is just learning to say everything correctly.
Yeah.
Until I can get the true meaning. Like I drop kupu here, there, and everywhere, but it's a process for me still. It's not natural.
Yep.
And it's still kind of, I'm still hard thinking about it.
There's a Littleton-based rapper named Komi, and they always say that Te Reo Māori takes 1 generation to lose and 3 to gain back. So you're starting that journey for your whānau, which is really beautiful.
Wow,
Yeah.
Feels nice to actually get the reo flowing. That's what the whakaaro, you know.
Yeah. Do you find that it's changed how you think about some things too? Because I have a lot of friends who say that.
Yeah. Like many years ago, I had this great kayako who was, like his story was really engaging and quite cool. I won't tell his story, but he came from Kura Kaupapa and then was put into a secondary school and then lost a lot of his reo, where his whānau had the reo, and he being a younger guy, and he was, so he had to relearn.
Yeah.
And he made a show of actually being really good at it. It's like, got to relearn, got to get really good at it so I don't face any kind of backlash. But I see just so he's come from that place where English was quite prevalent for a long time, and so he understands the mindset that a lot of us learners go through, and the barriers that we put up for ourselves a lot of the time. It was really interesting learning from him. So he was great at also explaining why this kupu came to be, and okay, why we anglicise some kupu, and it's like, well, that like use, for instance. And it's like, okay, cool. That's like, yeah.
Aw. For you, Paige, reinterpreting or rewriting your waiata with Te Reo Māori advisors, I'm wondering if it added a dimension to those songs or changed them in a way that you view them differently now, having been through that process. Is that something?
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't really know how to explain it, but I do feel like when I wrote the songs in Pākehā, like, they didn't have that much depth, obviously. And then I think, like, when you rewrite it in Te Reo Māori, it's like, it just adds way more layers than, it ever could if it was in English. And I can't really explain it, but, like, if I'm singing it in English, I'm just, like, kind of singing the pop song that, whatever. And then when I sing it in Te Reo Māori, it feels like I'm singing the actual song, how it was supposed to be conveyed and said. So, I don't know, like, it's weird. Because it's not something that I don't fully remember what what it actually means, but I do feel it when I sing it.
Yes.
I don't know, it's very bizarre. Yeah.
100%.
If you can relate.
Totally
probably.
relate to that. And I feel like kind of transported in a way.
Yeah.
Kia ora. I think that's a thing that I've talked to a lot of different people, especially, like, I spoke to Marlon Williams about Te Whare Ti Weka Weka. Why Te Reo Māori are going global right now. And I think that belief that a song in Te Reo Māori can't be popular or successful is kind of being destroyed completely. I mean, Taiani Wha, how many streams is that at now? 500,000?
Yeah.
I don't even know.
I checked, it's 500,000 streams now on that track, on a Wai Te Reo Māori track, the reinterpretation.
Commenting on
500,000 streams, one type of page. That's
awesome.
incredible. And you're a global superstar too. You've got fans all around the globe. You tour and you've just been in China for a tour?
Yeah.
Do you play these songs when you're going on tour? And
I have played like Waiata Māori songs in Korea because I think they really connect to that there. They love culture, and I think, like, I mean, we're so praised all around the world for our culture and our language and how we embrace it and stuff. So it's really cool to see those reactions internationally. And I think it would be cool to see how other artists are, like, what the reception is for other, like, Te Reo Māori artists overseas. Because, like, there's, like, Jordan with a Y and, like, Mohi Allen.
Massive.
Like, they're traveling and doing their Waiata, like, Māori overseas and stuff. So, it's cool.
For sure. I think it's really interesting. It's one of those things when you grow up in Aotearoa, a lot of people, there's this fear right now, Māorification. People are scared of us embracing Te Ao Māori. But we'll go overseas and walk into a bar and hear the haka and cry.
Yeah,
So-
isn't that interesting?
Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting?
I see no difference between that, us going overseas and sharing our reo to an aria in French or German. That's another language, and we still understand the meaning of it because of the way it's performed.
Yes, so true. That is so true. I wanted to talk about your contemporaries. We've spoken about some songwriters, Jordan with the Y, Mohi, what they're doing as well. Is there any other artists who are writing or working in the Waitareo Māori space that you guys are particularly fans of?
I love Hope.
Oh, yes.
I was going to say Hope.
Very thoughtful.
She's actually an ex-student of mine.
Yep.
But it's just been wonderful to see how she's grown. She started off as a dancer
Yep.
in the dance program at Whitireia, and then she started music, and I'm so glad she did. She's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, I was gonna say Hope as well.
Oh,
I mean, like, I think Hope, Jordan with the Y, Mohi Allen, they're all like artists.
They're all the same
that-
band.
Yeah, yeah. Well, my partner actually makes all their visuals. But yeah, I'm a big fan of their music, and I listen to them actively, and like I
Yeah.
think their songs also like are encouraging me to kind of like learn more like. You know, te reo is like Māori as well, because like I'm singing their songs and I'm learning from them, and
Yeah.
yeah.
great visuals, by the way. They're amazing. That Flowers and Hendo video. Yeah, it's real cool, especially Jordan with the Y. I think that Olivia Dean cover that went
Oh, yeah.
viral and crazy in Te Reo Māori, and it's got a whole new generation of people listening to Wai Te Reo Māori is incredible. It's awesome. I did want to talk about the projects that you guys are here for today, because it's pretty cool. You're playing on this stage. You're both playing on this stage. You're 5:45 on the stage, yeah? And 2:45? Awesome. And you're playing with TNT. I've got a little blurb about TNT.
Okay, cool.
I might rattle off. TNT is a unique symbiosis of big band music and te ao puoro Māori, consisting of both traditional waiata Māori, such as Me He Manu Rere, Hoki Mai, Toku Reo Toku Ohoho, and classic jazz standards translated in te reo Māori. Now that piqued my interest. And I know you're on RNZ, and they asked you about which classic jazz standards.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to be real vague, but because I didn't want to give it away too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are a few classic jazz standards. Should I give stuff away? I don't
You
know.
can, aroha?
Aroha.
Aroha?
Aroha.
Nice.
Aroha. Whakawhiti or translation of LOVE, made famous by Nat King Cole.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know, it's pretty exciting.
I'm so excited for it. And amongst them too, there's these traditional Wai Te Reo Māori. And you spoke about bringing some from Ngāti Kaununu. So I was wondering, any chance of Kōtero Māori? Eh?
Oh, that might be not yet.
Yeah, and it's in the works.
Yeah, I'd love that. But yeah, we did bring a couple of waiata from Kahungunu, yes.
Very excited. Love Kanunu. For yourself, Paige, for your set today, what's in the process? What's in the movements? What have you been planning to put on your set?
I've got a mixture of pop bangers
Yes.
and
Yes.
like a lot of guitar stuff. It's like very pop as well as like acoustic singer-songwriter. Like
Are you solo or are you
Between-
with band?
I have a keys player. We're playing tracks,
nice.
you know.
Nice, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
You know,
yes.
can't afford to fly them all down.
Yeah, cool, man. In this economy,
In this-
come on.
yeah.
Yeah, these gas prices aren't,
These
you know,
gas
they're not
prices,
helping,
man.
are they? Yeah.
Not helping at all. Travel light with it. I wanted to, we've kind of spoken about songwriting, but you've both kind of had guides on your journey, so I want to talk about them. You've worked with Whirimako Black before
Aye.
on Wai Te Reo Māori. How was that, working with a legend?
Oh, beautiful. She's just such a beautiful presence and so humble. I love working with her, and it's an honour to work with her. Yeah, reaching out to her to jump on a project that we did a wee while back. I was shaking when I was sending the email, but she responded so positively that I was just pretty overjoyed. And I got her to sing a track on our Pixie Williams tribute album.
Oh, beautiful.
Which is stunning. So yeah, and then she got invited to play for Wellington Jazz Festival a few years ago, and we got to perform backing vocals. Hope and myself actually
Wow.
did backing vocals for her with a smaller ensemble. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Really lovely.
that's awesome.
She's amazing.
Yeah, she is amazing. Such a fan. I've got a colleague at the Music Commission named Dania, and she's the biggest Whirimako Black fan of all time. So, Dania would have been sad to miss that,
That voice, man, gets me every time.
unlike anything else. For yourself, Paige, you spoke about working with Te Kahu Thea. She's just so much fun, isn't she?
Yeah, she's hilarious.
So hilarious.
Yeah, I think maybe Waia Te Reo and Te Reo Māori, like Waiata Māori and Te Reo Māori, like they're both. I'm so shy about stepping into that, especially being Māori presenting, not growing up with the language, not growing up with kapahaka. Like it's such a hard thing to kind of start your journey. And I think with her, she keeps it lighthearted, and she really knows how to like for you in the space and stuff like that. So she's been a great mentor, and so is Hana Mere Raiha.
Nice,
Yeah, because she helped me rewrite 2 of my songs, and she's the same. It's nice to work with people that are of similar age that have they've grown up like on the marae and in a completely different way, and it's really inspiring.
Yeah, for sure. And
Yeah.
it's nice we get to talk about the people who are mentoring you.
Yeah.
But you yourself are both mentors. I get to work at the New Zealand Music Commission. I'm very lucky to. And one of the jobs I do there is helping with the Mentoring in Schools program, where we send musicians into schools. And these 2 lovely people have both been mentors in the past. What was that experience like, giving back to the kids? Because there's a hunger for music out there, isn't there?
Yeah. Yes, there is.
Do you have any memorable moments from your visits with?
Oh man, like just when the kids are just so keen and they're just I don't know, like I've got a passion for this, and I love performing, and I love singing. Actually, the man doing our sound at the moment is one of my own mentors, hey Grant. If it weren't for him, I probably wouldn't be doing this. Thanks, man. Yeah, but I have a passion for it, and I want to see them develop that same passion. Have fun. It's a fun job.
Yeah. I think like music. If you are a musician later in life or whatever, it's like that love starts when you're in school, and I get really inspired seeing students be so excited about it, because I think your light can dim a little bit when you get older and you've been in it for a little while. And then when you see...
Quite several times.
Yeah. And it's kind of like when you see these young people with really incredible, songwriting ideas and things like that, it's so amazing. Because I guess like... when you're a teenager, that's when you're experiencing like love for the first time, like these peak emotions that you'll never feel for the first time again. So the songwriting is so potent. So whenever I go into schools and I hear students writing music, it's really powerful.
It's like a musical journal, really, eh? Like
Yeah.
they're writing out their diary and setting it to music.
Yeah. And they don't really care either. Like they're just so like. There's no ego there, they're just kind of really keen. And I think a lot of us can learn from them,
You're so right. Just before we wrap up, I want to throw this out there. Final words of encouragement for the young songwriters who are sitting in the crowd, who are thinking about dabbling in writing in Waitere o Māori or starting their journey in that process.
If you're already entrenched in the reo, just go ahead and do it. But mentorship is always a great way to go, either way, whether you know the reo or not. Get a buddy.
Yeah.
Get a study buddy.
Yeah, I think maybe just lean on your people, like, because everyone has a willingness, like, and they're generous with their knowledge. I've found, so it's every time just like ask questions. I think. Yeah. And what you said.
Study buddy.
Get a study buddy. Well, you're both performing today. Just to remind everyone, Lisa's playing with TNT Reo Māori Project here at 2:45. Don't want to miss that. Paige is playing at 5:45 right here. Make sure you're back for both of those. Thank you both so much. I
Thank
really,
you,
really
Nicholas.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kia ora. Thanks, team.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together once more for none other than Nick, Paige, and Lisa from our Artist Talk. Mauri ora ki rātou. Now, I did hear some snippets of kōrero when I came in and I sat amongst you. And one of the greatest things that I heard was, be a tutor, ka pai be a mentor. I believe, genuinely, ko te ti o te tangata te mea, te ngako o te tangata. There's something within each and every one of us, a gift of some kind, a talent, a skill, that we don't know is important until somebody else sort of recognizes it and tells us that it's important or that it's good. So if you're waiting for a time to be told to step forth into your light and to activate the tea that you possess within you, take this kōrero as one little nudge, but take this as a big shove off that cliff, ka pai whānau? So, whatever it is that you harbour inside of you, that gift, that talent, that little voice that says, maybe I could do that, this is your answer. Yes, you can do it. Get up and just do it e tiwi. Mauri ora kia tātou. Now, our next performer, which I will slowly introduce, nah jokes. Our next performer comes to us from the spaces of Niue and Samoa. For the love of writing ear candy melodies, love. Okay. 15 minutes we have until the whānau come. Nō reira, I'm going to introduce him in a little bit. What instead I'm going to do is, can you go like this? That's called smelling it, and that's a gift that we all possess naturally. If you can smell that and your stomach goes, it means you're hungry. So what I'd like to encourage you to do is within these next 15 minutes, go and get yourself something that you see around you, something that sparks your eye or that makes your hunger get a little bit more wild. Have a look at the crowds of people that exist here at Cuba Dupa that are bringing their love, their light, and their energy into our spaces. But make sure you're, you're feeding yourselves at here where you can get a little bit concerning sometimes when you're at a show and you stay sat for the whole time, not eating, not drinking water, then by the end of it you feel like you're hungover. Nō reira, that's a wairua hangover. That's what happens when you're surrounded by so much spirit and that's the only thing you're consuming. So if you're hungry, get you something to eat. If you're thirsty, grab you something to drink. And if you're not either of those, then connect with the people on either side of you or behind you. We'll be going right through until 6 o'clock tonight, unless I get told otherwise, but I'm sure it's 6 o'clock at Tiwi. And yes, it's 6. Oh, 10:30. Thank you, sir. Okay, cool. So after I leave, the show doesn't end. It just simply begins again. Nō reira, going all the way to 10:30, to grace ngā toi o te aro stage at te whānau. I'd also like to ask you to divert your eyes around the space. There's some whānau that are collecting donations for saving our children. So that's a New Zealand, it's not a New Zealand charity, but they're a charity that's based in New Zealand that collects from all over Aotearoa and supports young people in need, our tamariki. There's also some whānau wearing high-vis vests around. If you need to know how to get to somewhere and you're quite unsure how, have a chat to those whānau and they'll be able to direct you and to guide you. They might even gift you with a little bit of a laugh as they do so. I also want you to make sure that if you're staying in the sun, and I know that she's only peeking out every now and then, if you're sitting in the sun too long, please make sure that you get you some shade at the very least to ensure that tama nui te rā doesn't do too much damage to you. He does make you golden, but you sit a little bit longer and it's like those hot cross buns that you haven't taken out of the oven and you sort of get a bit darker e tiwi. Now dark is not bad, but burnt is. So slip, slop, slap and wrap. If you don't have any sunscreen, well, let's hope the shops over there do and you can go and help yourself to that. Nō reira, I think I'm going to do another crowd participation exercise. The sound and the amount of whānau we have here isn't that good for another sing-song, but we'll wait until a little bit later when all of the fun whānau come out. Nah, jokes, I'm joking. But I am going to come out here and just interrupt a couple of you and engage with you just to see, oh, you're eyeing me up there and I'm eyeing you up too. Kia ora. Why are you both here and what made you want to come to Cuba Dupa?
The music is amazing and the food is amazing.
Food and music, and you, Kare?
Good vibes.
And the good vibes. Well, let's hope you bring some of that. I see the food is taken care of, the music is gonna, and you've got the vibes. Mauri ora kia tātou. Kia ora Matsua, what's your name and why are you here?
Kevin, it's the first time I've heard about this place.
Oh, cool. Well, we hope that you enjoy Cuba Dupa. It's a festival that has been running for a few years now, and you'll get to enjoy and see all of the kuki that Wellington has to offer. Mauri ora kia koe Matsua, Kevin. Awesome. Kia ora Kare. Oh, I like shy people. What's your name and why are you here?
Hi, I'm Tapu and I'm here for the food.
Tapu, and you're here for the food and the good vibes too. You brought your babies with you. Have you come to Cuba Dupa before?
No.
First time? We've got a few first timers. Put your hands up if this is your first time to Cuba Duper. Oh, Mauri ora. And now those whānau at the front there, I saw you before. But this whanaunga over here, she took my breath away, so I had to go give her it instead. What are your names and why are you here?
Lynn and Ernie, and we're from Canada.
You're from Canada. Oh, Canada. Mauri ora kia korua. And what's your name, sir?
Ernie.
And you, other than accompanying your lovely wife, why are you here?
Just for the vibes.
Just for the vibes. Can we give it up for the vibes at Te Whānau? Mauri ora. Mauri ora, let me just see how long I've got to store for. Yes, I love this job. My nan said, hey, you're good at talking a word. You're good at talking expletive here. So why don't you go make a career out of it? So I picked up a microphone, started talking, and here we go. Nō reira, kia ora kare, you're stunning. What's your name?
I'm Angela.
Angela, kia ora, Angela. And where are you from?
I'm from Ngāpuhi.
Ngāpuhi nui tonu. Kia ora te whare tapu o Ngāpuhi. And what makes you come to Cuba Duper this year?
All the performances and musicians.
All the performances and musicians, and isn't it amazing that we have Ngā Toi o Te Aro, a stage dedicated just for our Pasifika and our Māori whānau?
Yep.
Mauri ora, you heard it here, te iwi. Yep, it's great to have this kaupapa. Nō reira, I'm going to pick on two more people. I'm just trying to feel where my wairu is taking me. Oh, I see a no on the left, so I'm going to say yes on the right. Kia ora, dear, what is your name and where are you from?
I'm Belinda and we're from Taranaki.
Belinda, and you're from Taranaki. Oh, how amazing that you get to sit here on the whenua of Taranaki and come from Taranaki yourselves. And why are you here?
Never been before.
You've never been before. Well, we hope that Cuba Duper, this is your first experience, is a great one for both you and your husband. Mauri ora. Mauri ora kia korua. Awesome. And it won't be the last.
Yeah, now, and it won't be the last. We'll be here every year.
And now you take a note out of this Matua's book. This is his first time, but not his only time. He's going to come every year. And I expect that of everybody in this space too. One more chat. Oh, kia ora kare. Hi, what's your name and why are you here?
I'm Priyanka. I'm from India.
You're Priyanka and you're from India. Which part of India?
I'm from northern part.
Northern India? Whereabouts is that?
From Haryana.
Oh, you're Haryanvi. Kia ora. Kia ora, namaste. And why are you here?
Just to enjoy Cuba Duper.
Just to enjoy Cuba Duper, and you've brought your parents with you? Yes. Okay, cool. Let's do a quick photo op.
Yay!
Yay! Mauri ora, all the way from Haryana in India, te whānau, nō reira. I'm going to mosey my way out back up onto the stage. But what I want you to do, if you're hungry, say he. Well, what did I say before? Go get you something to eat and don't wait for me to tell you, te whānau. If you need to go to the toilet, say ha. Awesome. If you need to go to the toilet, it's located on Englewood Place. If you have some money, say, give me. Yes, give me. No, I'm joking. Nō reira, I'm just going to get back. Awesome. Awesome, e te iwi. So now what I'm going to do before I introduce our next set is we're going to play some background music so that I can breathe and stop stalling. And then I'll come back up onto the stage, introduce our next set, and then we'll be good to go. Ka pai? Ka pai. Mauri ora kia tātou. Your name is Taran. Like, not born to crawl, not born to walk, but to run.